men and women, clergy, educators, elected officials, and leaders, innovators, concerned citizens, that we come here today to sound an alarm. The recent rash of gun violence in our city and the recently released statistics that informed us that 95% of the young people in our city who are arrested in our schools are African American and Latino, along with Police Commissioner Ray Kelly's statement of a few weeks ago that we are shockingly silent when it comes to the level of violence right in our own communities, sounded an alarm. This alarm is informing us that stop and frisk, right or wrong, agree or disagree, is not having an appreciable impact on the level of gun violence that kill and maim our citizens. And tragically, it snatched the life of too many of our children as they play innocently on the streets of New York City. So we are sounding an alarm with this great collection of individuals as a representative of a larger group of people who are taking action through an initiative that I've chosen to call Starve the Beast. The beast that I speak of has three parts: the jaws, the belly, and the rear end. The jaws of the beast represent that which bites, tears, and rends. It is gun violence. It is community apathy. It is gang activity. It's substandard schools. The belly of the beast represents incarceration, drug rehab, probation, parole, some of the things that swallow up our people. And the rear end of the beast is re-entry. How people re-enter society after being in the belly of the beast as returned citizens. Starve the Beast will seek to join with and thereby expand on the Occupy the Corner movement along with Reverend Sharpton. We will also meet with the Man Up Prayer Group that's in about 5 or 6 housing projects throughout the city. And our presence, prayers, and insertion into these areas will go a long way. We also want to be present in those communities to educate people that we have to take action to clean up our hood. In every community, there are law-abiding citizens who know who the gun-wielding thugs are. They know who's selling drugs, and they say nothing out of fear. I'm calling on Mayor Bloomberg and Commissioner Kelly to expand upon the existing, if you see something, say something. When people see something, they need to say something. That shouldn't just apply to somebody leaving a duffel bag on the train. And I'm asking them to recognize this, that when people can't come out of their homes, and people don't feel safe in their own streets, that this is a form of terrorism as well. Some may say that I'm advocating for our young men to be arrested, but I am not. I would rather that there would be young men who might be locked up for possession of a gun than somebody that's locked up for using a gun and somebody losing their life. I am saying that somebody who shoots shots into an unsuspecting crowd needs to be removed from our society before they do such an act. We need to know that the police department should not be seen as those who are supposed to clean up our neighborhood, but the police department should be used as a tool to help us clean up our own neighborhood. So we want to join with any program that does great youth development, that does mentoring, that does training, that does something to elevate the minds and the hearts of our community. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. What we want to do is we want to build the tire factory. So today, we want to deal with our citizens who are returning from exile in a greater way. We're asking churches and mosques and synagogues, houses of faith, and people who are concerned to deal with them. I myself have been going into Rikers Island and going into Valhalla Jail over the last couple of years to help elevate the minds of those young men who have been snatched off of our streets because of their own poor choices. And we would like to educate them while they're in prison, that when they get out, they understand that not only do they have a responsibility not to go back to jail, but they have a responsibility to look back and help those who may be in the same state that they used to be. So today, what we want to do is send a message to the boneheads who are shooting up our streets and the naysayers that say that we can't work together. We want Democrats, Republicans, Muslims, Christians, Hindus, educators, parents, any concerned citizen. We don't care what side of the aisle you sit on, everybody bleeds red. We don't care what your political beliefs are, everybody wants peace in our streets. We don't care about any of your own personal agendas. All we care about is cleaning up the streets, working together, and doing something meaningful in our community. So we will be meeting, we will be planning, we will be implementing over the next few months. We'll be careful not to become bogged down with detail. We will be reporting our progress periodically. But we wanted to come here to this place of political power in our city and tell our police commission, tell our mayor, tell our citizens, tell our clergy, and tell our people that there's a beast walking around our streets like a roaring lion, and if we want it to die, we have to stop feeding it. If we want it to die, we have to stop nourishing it. If we want it to die, we have to stop appeasing it. So today, we are here because we are going to starve the beast. We are going to stop the stem of gun violence. It's nobody else's responsibility but ours. It's nobody else's job but ours. It's nobody else's responsibility but ours. Because who is going to clean up our communities but us? I know that we're not in the church because somebody say amen.
Amen.
Amen. So, I'm going to ask a couple of people to speak today. I have a great array of individuals behind me. I know everybody can't speak, but I want to ask the president of New York Theological Seminary, Reverend Dr. Dale Irvin, to come and say a word because New York Theological Seminary has been involved in the belly of the beast for almost 30 years. Dr. Irvin.
We want to starve the beast from the inside, working with those who are themselves probably the greatest agents of change. People who've been through the prison system know more about what's going on inside than any of us on the outside. New York Theological Seminary has been doing this for 30 years with a program training people inside to become themselves agents of transformation. We've got to talk about transformation. We've got to talk about transformation starting on the inside, and then we've got to be able to see it on the outside. More than anything else, we need to be able to see a changed world. Folks, we don't even begin to imagine. We have too many people who think nothing can change. And our neighborhoods are going to stay just as violent. We have too many people who think that a person can't change. That you got to lock a person up because the person's beyond redemption. I'm telling you the exact opposite. I'm telling you that human beings change, neighborhoods change, and we've got to begin to learn to see this different world. 30 years ago, you could smoke in public. Almost any restaurant and any building in New York City. We've changed the mentality around smoking. You can now change. You can go into restaurants in this country carrying a loaded weapon, but you can't smoke a cigarette in there. It makes no sense at all that we are so addicted to violence in this society. We've got to change attitudes on television. We've got to change attitudes of people. We've got to change attitudes of what folks think is allowable, but it starts right on the streets, and it starts in the neighborhood, and it starts in the belly of the beast. One of the things we've got to do is put corrections back in correctional systems. See that the system for incarcerated people has to be primarily geared towards rehabilitation and transformation. We've got to put resources in there, but more than that, we need human beings. We've got to put people into it. So we're calling on churches and others to help build this network that's going to transform inside, where we can make sure that anybody who's coming out is already coming out transformed and ready to participate in building a new society. Thank you. Thank you.